Welcome to the Manifesting Abundance Show. I'm your host, Kathryn Yarborough, and I'm delighted to be here with someone who I've known for years, Ginny Robertson. You can see her face coming in and out. I think there's a little bit of noise and squeaking back and forth, so the screen's jumping back and forth, but that's okay. You get to see her beautiful face. And so if you are new to the Manifesting Abundance Show, what I just want to let you know is that my intention is that I'm doing this on Mondays and Thursdays, and recording them so you can watch them all on my website at flowingwithchange.com. And I am interviewing people who are creating their lives by design rather than by default. So the people who are coming on this show are real people, authentic people, cool people like Ginny and my other guests, and you're going to get to hear about how they're doing that and what's happening for them as they do that. So my hope is that it inspires and informs and it helps all of us to choose to create our lives in a way that feels really right for us. And speaking of that, I just saw this incredible movie, Ginny, which I'm sure you would love, and I want to come back to it. I saw it yesterday. It's called Captain Fantastic. So if you haven't seen it, I'm going to tell you and all the listeners about it because it's about an interesting path of creating a life by design for yourself and your children. Anyway, Ginny Robertson is here with me from Maryland. Hello, Ginny.
Hey, Kathryn.
So how about if I know Ginny, let me just say to everybody, I've known Ginny since 2001. I absolutely love and adore her and appreciate her. She's one of my role models and mentors in this realm of being an entrepreneur and a woman entrepreneur. And I'm so thrilled to chat with you in this way. But Ginny, you tell folks what you're up to right now, what you're doing, and a little bit about you.
Okay, well, I am Ginny Robertson, and my company is called Ginny Robertson LLC. And the mission of the company is to connect women around the world to their gifts, their purpose, and each other. And I do that through a number of ways. I have women's networking groups that meet throughout Maryland, and I'm expanding into other states. I have a magazine called On Purpose Woman that is both print and digital. I do workshops, retreats, and an annual conference. So any way that I can figure out to connect women to each other and have fun doing it, I'm there.
All right. So, well, cool. So most of my people are women. So I love supporting that connection process. And so I'm glad that you're here and sharing your message with people. So I know your story, Ginny, about how you used to be in finance and, you left that because it just wasn't good for you. But can you just share, just like summarize that choice, for yourself?
Sure. I can summarize the first 40 years of my life very quickly. I did what I was told. And so your topic, life by design rather than default, I lived pretty much the first 35 to 40 years really by default. And what I mean by that is I was a good girl. I did what I thought I was supposed to do to get through and to make people happy and to not displease anyone. And I went to the college my parents chose, and I majored in what they chose. And I came to Maryland, and I married this very, very nice man, but I was really too young to make those kind of decisions. And I got a job with a large corporation, and they said, well, we'll pay for some more education, but we want you to do this instead of that. So I had been majoring in English. That was my background, was language arts. So I switched to business administration with a concentration in finance. And I say that because I liken it to like a cork on the ocean or a leaf blowing in the wind. When an idea would come from someone else, whether it was for my career or my personal life, and I would just go where they wanted me to go. Oh, Ginny, we think you'd be really great in this job. We'd like to promote you over here. And I would say yes, not really giving thought to whether it was in my best interest or not. And I think that was mainly because I didn't know that I could. That may sound really kind of silly to some people, but I guess I didn't think I had permission to do it.
I'm going to interrupt you, Jenny.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound silly to me at all. I think a lot of people don't realize that they can actually tune in to what they want, and especially women. You know, I'm still amazed that there are women who will say, I've got to check with my husband. And if you're a listener and you're listening to me about this, I don't want to put anybody down, but I find it hard to understand that. You know, so anyway, it's great. So say more about your journey, because I'm just excited that you're here to talk about it.
Well, I turned 30, and I didn't know I had a child at 29, and I had this lovely little child, and this marriage that was just kind of there. It wasn't bad, it wasn't good, it was just there. And we started having some issues and went to marriage counseling, and that didn't work so well. So I started seeing a private therapist. So I'm 33 years old, and I walk into this woman's office for the first time, and she says, well, what's going on? And I told her some things. And the main thing I said is, I don't like the person I'm being in this marriage. And she leaned across her desk, and she kind of, put her hand on mine, and she said, well, guess what, Ginny? You don't have to do it that way anymore. And I said, I don't. That was the first, I liken it to the shutter of a camera opened up, a little bit of light got in, and I had choices that I didn't know I had. And I couldn't, once we know something, we can't not know it. That's both good news and bad news. That little glimmer came in, and I went, oh, I could do something different. I didn't know that, Kathryn. I lived in that world of, well, you made your bed, now you have to lie in it. You've made these choices. This is what you got your education in. You must do that for the rest of your life. And this woman gave me this little piece of information. And I ended up leaving my marriage, going out on my own, quitting my corporate job when I turned 40, taking some huge risks. And it all came, and I wish I could find her today, because it all came from that one moment when he gave me permission, I guess. I'm not going to say it was really easy. It was not easy, and it was very scary, but it was so worth it. So worth it.
So, okay, so I just want to say that when you said to her, when you just shared that you said to her, I wrote it down, I don't like the person I'm being in this marriage. I just was so enthralled with that recognition. I wrote it down because I think that's huge. I mean, it touches me right now in my life, and I've been creating my life by design since, in some ways since my 20s, exploring this possibility. So I missed, what did she say after that? That was like the wake up thing for you?
You don't have to do it that way anymore.
You don't have to do it that way anymore.
You can do something different. In effect, you can make a different choice. And I'm like, oh, I can? I didn't know that. I just saw, I saw this path I was on, and a lot of us are on that path. You don't get divorced. You don't quit your job. You just do as you're told, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Okay. So I want to share with you about this movie, Captain Fantastic. Have you heard about it?
I have heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So there's this really cool theater here in Central Florida where I'm hanging out, called the Enzian Theater. So it's the first time I went yesterday, and they show more non-mainstream films, which Captain Fantastic is. So just as a summary for the viewers, it's about a father and his, I don't know, maybe there's 6 kids. I didn't count all of them. And he and his wife had made a decision to live off the grid with their children and train their children to be able to take care of themselves out in nature. But they also did this, and they homeschooled them. And so these children were by far, I mean, based in the story, I mean, I don't know if there's anybody who's done this, but they had realized their intelligence. From the 8-year-old up to the 18-year-old, they were profoundly intelligent in terms of the books that they had read and their thinking process, and they were physically fit because they were living on the land and doing amazing things that way. And then his wife I won't tell you the whole story, but his wife died, and then they had to come back to regular world, where the rest of us live. And so what is so amazing to me was that the mom and the dad had created this life by design, and how for them it was so off mainstream that and for me, when I was watching it, I mean, because that's part of my challenge, is feeling so not part of this regular world. And that's what you're speaking to in a way. It's like the regular world is doing everything that you're told to do when you go to college, and your situation was a little bit from how you describe it, very much, just following whatever they said. But still, something, this therapy session, sounds like it completely opened you up to the possibility of this creating your life by design. And so there's this continuum, and it's challenging. So I'm speaking to the challenge of it. What about for you? Once you opened up, have you found like it was hard, or was it more like, oh, this is just great?
It was both. It was both. You have to understand too where I was at that time in my life. I had gone right from college, and I lived in a college dorm. I didn't live in an apartment. So I lived, supervised. Back then they had house mothers and curfews and everything. So I went from that to marriage. I'd never lived on my own. I have this 3.5-year-old child that I am now going to leave. I'm leaving my home and going out on my own. Got an apartment and just did it. And I had also, before that, had quit my job and was doing something part-time. I had a part-time antique business. Actually, it was a full-time antique business, but I had to go back into the regular workforce because I couldn't support myself and my son doing that. And so there were all these signs along the way, and I connected with some amazing people, got involved with a seminar company that helped me to see so much more than I thought was possible, and just started being around people. I think that was the key, was to surround myself with people who were not afraid, because a lot of people in my life were afraid. They were afraid for me. They didn't understand why I was doing what I was doing. And then when I turned 40 and left my very lucrative corporate job, most of the people close into my life thought I had lost my mind because I had benefits. And you know how much value we place on benefits in this country. And we plan our whole life around whether we have health insurance or not. And there came a point when I just said, I have got to do something else. I felt like I was compromising who I was every day I left the house. And I was good at what I did, and I could earn a lot of money doing it, but I didn't want to do it anymore. And so I took a tremendous pay cut to go work for the seminar company I'd mentioned. I'd gone through their facilitator training program, which also just cracked me wide open. You want to know who you are and then do something like that for a long period of time. And I was ready, but you know, there were still struggles. I was still scared financially because I had a child to feed. But you know, I'm still here. It worked out. So what else would you like me to say about that?
Well, nothing. I mean, nothing's coming to mind. I just want to I just want to chat about just, I want to chat about now. Let's talk about now, because that happened, what, 20 years ago or so? I don't even know how many years ago.
30. Yeah.
So yeah, you've been doing all this. You created your own business, the On Purpose, thing, umbrella, with networking and your magazine and your conference. And so here you are today, and you're still creating your life by design. And what's it like today? Do you ever think, I don't like the person I'm being?
Well, every once in a while, I don't like the behavior maybe I'm doing, or the maybe what I'm thinking. But no, I always like the person I'm being, because that. And even back then, what I didn't like about myself, I think, was more my behavior. But to me, the being was the behavior. and I didn't like how I was showing up. And so today I cut myself a lot more slack to start. I'm a recovering perfectionist. I'm still a recovering good girl. I still have those good girl moments when I want to make sure that everybody's okay with everything, but they're much fewer and far between now. And so I do like my life a lot. I love my life. And what I particularly love is that I think when we create our life by design like this, we're really in charge of where we go with it. So we're not at the whim of anyone else. So I'm almost 65 years old. In a couple of months, I'll be 65. And I'm not concerned about someone telling me I can't do something any longer because of my age, or because, oh, we're downsizing and we're going to cut you because, you know, you're about ready to retire, that sort of thing. In fact, I'm expanding. I'm in the stage of my life where I'm expanding. And I don't know that had I stayed where I was, if I would even want to do that now. I think I would be one of those people who just said, oh, yay, I get to leave soon. And we know those people, don't we? They spend their whole life working for someone else, not particularly loving what they do. And there are people, you know, I say, bless them, somebody's got to go do that work. And there are people who do it and love it and are great at it. I'm talking to the people, though, who knew 25 years ago that this wasn't where they wanted to be, but fear took over and they took the secure road. And I get that. But now they're sitting there waiting. Oh, I get to leave soon. I get to retire. And then what? You know, is really sticking your toes in the sand going to be enough? I don't know. It wouldn't be for me, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, you know, one of the things that you shared so far today in our conversation was so much good pieces that I'm just grateful to hear, either for the first time or again, because I've gotten to hear your story over the years and in so many different settings. But you know, I know a few years ago, it might have been 6 or 7 at this point, you went through a process with yourself and your business where you got clear about your mission, and your mission being to connect women, and I forget the exact words, but to their purpose and each other. And I know I'm missing one of them, one of the pieces there. And I feel like from out here watching you go through that process, and just for the listeners, Ginny was already working. She was with her own business. She was already doing the networking. I believe she was doing her magazine. It was just, I know you did some coaching, Ginny, and you got, or some process, and you got clear about this mission. And that since then, you know, there's been an inner alignment with everything that you speak and you do. And I don't know if, from my perspective, if what you do is any different in terms of the what, but your inner clarity has come through in a way that I don't feel like it was as clear from out here. And it feels like in getting that clarity about your mission or your purpose, that it was like lighting a fire underneath you. I'm not putting the right words to it, but do you know what I'm talking about in the change in you? Does that feel true for you?
It feels very true, and thank you for noticing. It was in 2010 that I decided to rebrand, because my company was initially called Live Your Life on Purpose. And I started, you know, On Purpose Woman Magazine, On Purpose Networking for Women. Everything had the word purpose in it. But what I was finding is I would meet people out in the world, and I would meet women, and they would say, oh, Ginny Robertson, my friend told me I should meet you. You do something with women, don't you? Or you do some kind of newsletter, don't you? And I was finding that people knew my name, but they didn't necessarily know what I did. So I decided first to change the company name to just Ginny Robertson, so that we could have that connection first, and then they could find out what I did after that. So that was the first step. And then it was to get, you're so right, because what I'm doing is really not that different. I'm still doing networking groups. I'm still doing the magazine. I'm still doing workshops. But the why is very different. I got very clear that the whole purpose for me doing everything that I do is about community and connection. It's not about anything but those things. And before, I was making it about other things like, I was concerned that it wouldn't be seen as serious business networking. I wanted to fit into some model that I had seen out there so we would be taken seriously, whatever that means. And what I found over the years is by doing it the way I'm doing it, I am attracting women who want just that. So I was trying to be, and I think this is what I need to say about that, and maybe someone listening will need to hear this. I was trying to be something for everyone. A one-size-fits-all kind of place. Oh, you need that, I can do that. Oh, you want that? Oh, yeah, we can change that. Because I wasn't that clear yet. And I'm so clear now that when an opportunity arises, someone says, oh, Ginny, will you come and speak so-and-so? I want to know more about it, and I'm going to trust whether I should go or not. I don't say yes to everything anymore. It's got to fit in. Does it take me down the path closer to my mission, which I will say again is to connect women around the world to their gifts, their purpose, and each other. It's the gift word.
Their gifts.
If it's not going to do that, I'm not going to do it. Period.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. Yeah. And so I think the other thing about clarity, Kathryn, is it lightens us up. It's like, oh, that feels so much better to not have to struggle with, am I doing the right thing? Or somebody going to like the speaker that I have because she's a little less left of mainstream, and I used to worry about things like that. And now I like the people who show up are there, and they're either going to love it or they're not. And if they don't, they'll find something else they love somewhere else.
Well, I feel so appreciative of because even today it's even clearer than it was 2 years ago. You're speaking about it, but what I want to say, as a person who works with heart-based entrepreneurs, I think that it would be great if we could all start off from this place of clarity, but I don't think it's possible for most of us. And I want to just recognize that you were already doing this work, and then through the process of doing it and getting the feedback from other people, and then your own inner work and whatever coaching you did and the rebranding process, it became clearer what really matters to you and
Yes.
why you're doing what you're doing. And I think so much of the time, I don't know, I've done these online things and people will say, why do you do what you do? I'll even ask my people, why do you do what you do? And I think it's a good question to ask, but sometimes we can't know until we're doing it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it is an evolution. It really is, because I couldn't have designed this business plan. You know what I mean? To have actually seen the vision of what it was to become. So I think if I had been really clear of what it had to be back in the day, I would have gone down a different path. All I knew when I started the networking group is that I wanted to bring women together in a safe place where they could practice being who they really are. That's all I knew I wanted to do. The rest of it just kind of shook out over the years. And again, I got feedback, like you said. I got some negative feedback. I got positive feedback. For a while there, the negative feedback used to really bother me, and I used to think I would have to change it again to fit everyone. That's only because I hadn't grown up yet. I was still in that kind of good girl place that said everybody's supposed to not just love me, but love what I do. And as we know, if you're still trying to do that, boy, it's painful, and you'll never get there, because there's always going to be someone who doesn't want what you have. I mean, that's a great thing, because we can't serve everyone. We don't have the time to serve everyone. We need to serve the people we're meant to serve. And I've been on this kick lately. I've been doing some talking around this idea of do what is ours to do. And I think that's the other thing I got really clear on. I think this is mine to do, and I'm doing it in a different way than somebody else. Not better, just different. And this is my unique spin on it. And we've all got that. We just have to be able to come to that place where we can find it and accept it and be okay with it. Because sometimes we're kind of going, really? That's, we'll push back, we'll fight, that sort of thing. I'm sure you've experienced that.
I have certainly experienced that. Absolutely. Within myself, a lot of that. So I can relate. But But I don't need to talk about me right now, Ginny. I'll do that another time. But I do want to make sure the listeners know about your conference in Maryland. It's coming up in October. And so I want to hear about that and let those folks hear about it, because I'm hoping to come. Again, I've gone to this conference. It's been like 3 or 4 years. This is what, the 5th one? Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think I've been to at least 3, if not all 4. So I might have missed one. I don't know. I don't know if I've missed one. But anyway, I love your conferences, Jenny. So will you please share with people what they can do to find out about it and what they can expect?
Yes, it is the 5th annual On Purpose Woman Conference. Excuse me. And the purpose is to really connect women to their gifts, their purpose, and each other. And it's a full day and a half of workshops, of events, of just coming together in community. And it's going to be really big this year. I've been at the Homewood Suites for 4 years. We've outgrown the space. And I moved to the Maritime Institute Conference Center, which is near the Baltimore Washington International Airport. And so I've got all the space, and I'm going to fill it. And so Friday night we'll have a keynote. I know. I'm very excited. I keep thinking, you know, conventional wisdom is telling me I should be really afraid right now. And then I go, I just don't really subscribe to conventional wisdom. So I guess that's why I'm not afraid right now. I'm very excited. And Friday night will be an opening keynote. We'll all be in this one sort of it's intimate, but it's an auditorium, so we'll have plenty of space to move around. I'll have 2 panels that night, and then the next day we'll start the conference out with, you know, again, opening music. Claudia Carawan will be back as usual doing our music. And the things that are going to be different this year, I always have 3 workshops going on at all times. And the workshops are in the areas of entrepreneurship, of personal growth and spirituality, and wellness. And this year I've added a movement room for women will be doing some things. I don't know yet because I haven't picked the speakers yet, but they'll be teaching something. It could be hula dancing, it could be Tai Chi, it could be some form of movement. Because it really can be kind of rough to be in a conference all day. And I've been wanting to do that, but didn't have the space. The other thing I've added is a quiet meditation room where people will be offering something that isn't movement, maybe singing bowls or just guided meditation. So that's all kind of open right now, and I'll be sending out information soon for speaker proposals and that sort of thing. I've got vendor opportunities, a lot more room than I've ever had before. I've got sponsor opportunities. I'm also going to have a book, an author area where maybe an author who doesn't want to do a table by herself could come together in collaboration for a book area and kind of take turns and do book signings and that sort of thing. The food is wonderful. They have a hotel right there in the conference center, so it's very, very exciting. Right now, the website is being updated. I've been told it will probably be ready tomorrow with the basic information. It's onpurposewomanconference.com, and registration will probably also open tomorrow. But if you go there and it still has last year's information, poke around and see how cool it is, and then come back maybe a day later and you'll see this year's information.
Well, excellent.
And Kathryn, you're coming. I'm so glad.
Yeah, it is my intention to come. It's my intention to be a speaker. Yeah. So yeah, count me in. Or let's plan on it, or something's good. I'm gonna write a proposal for you that you're just gonna say yes. I'm
telling all the potential speakers, you know, I want something edgy and different because, you know, that's what we do.
Yeah, I've got 2 ideas right now. You may want both of them, but we'll see. We'll see. I know you don't. I mean, most people just do one, but I just got a thing that's like, oh my God, that would be really, really good. But the other one is what I want to do. So anyway, we'll see how it unfolds. So, all right. So again, the dates for people to mark their calendar are Friday, October
21st, which is 5 to 10 on Friday evening, and then Saturday, October 22nd from 8:30 till 6, 8:30 in the morning till 6 at night.
Okay. And I'm going to be flying up from Florida. So I just want to say to folks, this is a conference that is worth flying to. It's right next to the airport, so you don't have to travel far. I'm sure you can probably get a shuttle from the motel or hotel to the airport and back. So, because I know my audience is around the globe, but certainly in the U.S. And so I don't want folks, to feel like they have to be in Maryland. Though Maryland folks, please come to this conference. It's been awesome every single time. I've absolutely loved it. And the energy. One of the things I like is that the energy is just great. I like going and I can be this sort of like person who feels like I'm supposed to meet everybody and feel overwhelmed. And so one of the things I've learned over the years and going to on purpose networking is that what works for me is having the intention to just get to know one person. And so when I've gone the last few times, I've just gone with the intention to just connect, with a person or two and just enjoy being with people. And it's just felt so enriching and wonderful. I love the conference, and the music in the past has been wonderful. I am guessing you're going to have Claudia. Are you going to have Claudia again?
Oh yeah, can't do it without her. Don't want to.
Yeah, she's awesome. The music is fantastic. So definitely come and join us. And, anybody who's listening to this and hearing this and comes, please make sure you reach out to me. Let me know you're there and that we meet in person, especially if we've never met before. Because that's just so cool for me to bridge my online world with the real world. That's a really cool thing. So Ginny, before we totally wrap up with this has just been delightful. Is there anything else that you want folks to know about?
Well, I think what I want to do is just offer one more little tip here, and from my own personal experience, is that when you get to the place that you realize I want to create my life, I want to create some new things for myself, surround yourself with people, or find that one person who buys it, who believes in you, because there will be a lot of people who may mean well, but they're terrified. They cannot imagine quitting their job or leaving a marriage, or it doesn't even have to be that drastic. It could be, well, I'm going to start a part-time business with a full-time job. They'll be telling you all the reasons why that won't work. And you have to find out whether it will work or not, because I really also decided way back that I wanted to be sitting in my rocking chair maybe at 110. I don't know if I'll be, maybe by then I'll be in a rocking chair. But I don't want to regret the opportunities I had and didn't even look at. I want to regret the risks I took. And actually, I don't think I'll regret those. But, I don't want to really look back and go, wow, I wonder what would have happened if back in 1992 I had done that thing. And then a life of regret, to me, is just like the worst thing, the worst possible outcome. So surround yourself or find that one person who says, how can I support you? And give it a shot, because we never know. I like to call it, there's a book, you remember the Simple Abundance book by Sarah Von Brothnick? She did a book after that called Something More. And she referred to something called divine discontent. And I think that is exactly what I was starting to feel in my early 30s, divine discontent. I wasn't unhappy, but I knew that this was not going to be enough for the rest of my life.
Beautiful. Well, Ginny, thank you for being here with me and being a guest, and thank you for being you and being a role model for me, which speaks to my lesson from the movie that I saw, Captain Fantastic, because one of the take-homes for me was that he made a decision to be a role model for his kids. And so that movie was inspirational to me, and you have been inspirational, and you have been a role model. Do you know that?
I think you've told me that before, but I never tire of hearing it, so thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for having me on and making me do this thing, because, this is my first in-camera thing, and I've got to do some video, so thank you for letting me get used to seeing my face over there. It's going to be easier when I do the video soon.
Yeah, good. I'm glad I'm helping you out in that way. So thank you, Ginny, and thank you, listeners. I will be back on Thursday with Mark Porteous, who is a really cool man and who is also creating his life by design. And and who I met first online, and now he lives near, like 5 minutes from where I'm currently hanging out here in Florida. So I've met him in person too. So that's very awesome. And so, and I am also doing a couple of other things I just want to share with folks. I have a Facebook abundance group, and it's called facebook.com/groups/manifesting abundance. And in August, I'm doing an affirmation challenge. So I'm inviting people to post an affirmation every single day and give some energy to the things that they are creating in their lives, some positive energy. So if you want to participate in the August affirmation challenge, come over to facebook.com/manifesting abundance. And I will also be doing on August 4th a new seminar, and it's going to be Stop Standing on Your Own Hose, and start manifesting joy, peace, and abundance. So that'll be interesting, and I'm looking forward to it. All right, my friends, talk to you next time. Bye, Ginny.
Bye, Kathryn. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.